Okay, so this is 1.2 homework, our modern numeral system. And we start off here. We want to use the number 421,578 and find the place value of the given digit. All right, so it's pretty simple, right? You look here and you say, okay, the 8 is in the 1 spot, the 7's in the 10s, the 5 in the hundreds, the 1 in the thousands, the 2 in the 10,000s, and the 4 in the 100,000s. And so we just translate these down here. So the 5 was in the 100 spot, so this is the hundreds. The 8 is in the 1 spot, so we write a ones. The 4 is in the 100,000 spot, so let's just put 100,000 spot. 100 thousands. The 2 is in the 10,000s spot. The 1 in the 1,000 spot. Right, so just thousands. And finally, the 7 is in the 10 spot, or the 10th place, right? These spots are all places. Okay, so that's the idea. The next problem, so we want to do on the next one, we want to write each number in expanded form. Okay. So the idea is that we expand these. So this is like 2 ones, 0 tens, 8 tens, and 1 1,000. So what we can write here is that this is equal to 1 times 10,000 times 1,000, right? So 10 cubed, plus 800, so 8 times 10 squared, plus, if you want, you can write 0 10, so 0 times 10, plus 2 1, so 2 times, and if you want, you write 1, or just write 10 to the 0, or just plus 2 is fine, really. The next one, 1,326,419. Okay, this can be written as, okay, so you have 1 million, right? So 1 times 10 to the 6, plus you have 300,000, so 3 times 10 to the 5th, plus you have 2 10,000s, so 2 times 10 to the 4th, plus you have 6,000s, so 6 times 10 cubed, plus you have 400s, so 4 times 10 squared, plus you have 110, so 1 times 10, and finally you have 9 ones, so 9 times, if you want to put plus 9 is fine, you want to put just plus 9 times 1, or you can just continue the pattern and put 9 times 10 to the 0. However you like to do it, it is fine, and as long as you understand the idea. Okay, the reason why we do these is illustrated on the next example, so let's go to it, the next homework problem. And so in this problem, it says, in the problems that follow, you will be required to add, subtract, multiply, and divide any two numbers. Okay, so we should change this. We're not doing subtraction, so I changed this problem. And we're not doing division. In the left column, you should do the required operation by hand, just like you were taught in elementary school. In the right column, you should use expanded notation in order to try to justify / understand the answer you are doing. Okay, so then this is not something I can necessarily test you on. It's more of just for your own general knowledge. So here, I'll just do this how they taught me. So 245, and then I'll add 327. And we do this just by adding numbers column-wise. So, I say to myself, 7 plus 5 is 12. And, I'm using my fingers usually to do this. And I carry the 1. And then 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. And then 2 plus 3 is 5. So I get 572. Now over here, what I do is I write it in expanded notation. So this would be, 2 times 10 squared plus 4 times 10, and then plus a 5. And I'd also have then 3 times 10 squared plus a 2 times 10 plus a 7. And I'm going to add these. Right, with expanded notation, I can try to understand why this process on the left actually works. So the idea is I actually have 5 ones and 7 ones. And so when I added them together, I get 12 ones. And I could write a 12 here if I like, but I know in our numeral system you're only allowed to use 0 through 9. So what I do is I write 2, which represents the 2 ones, and I have a 10 left over, so I carry it. So 1 times 10. Right, so it's still really 12. I just wrote the 10 in this column. Now I add this column, so I have not just 1 plus 4 plus 2, but I'm really adding 10 plus 40 plus 20. All right, so that gives me 70. So I have 7 times 10. And so that's why I add that column, and I get a 7 here. And then I add the final column, and this is not really just 2 plus 3, which is, of course, 5. It's actually 2 hundreds and 3 hundreds, which gives me 5 hundreds. So this exercise is designed to try to help you understand why this process, this algorithm over here, actually works. All right, so let's look at the next example, right, in which we are going to multiply. All right, so multiplication here, I'm going to do 23 times 12. So let's just do this like we were taught. So 23 times 12. And I was taught, I say 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 2 is 4. And then I put a 0 here, because that's what I was taught. And then 1 times 3 is a 3, and 1 times 2 is a 2. And I simply add the columns together. So 6, or I'm just adding 6, and then I get a 7, and I get a 2. So 276. Right, that's what 23 times 12 is. To try to understand why this process works the way it does, over here I'm going to write this in expanded form. So I'm going to write 2 times 10 plus a 3, right, that's 23 in my expanded notation, and I have 1 times 10 plus a 2. And I'm going to multiply these things together. All right, so what's really happening here when you multiply 12 by 23, what you're doing is first you're taking 2 23s and then you're taking 10 23s, because that's what multiplication really is. It's this repeated addition. So 46 is actually 2 of the 23s, and 230 turns out to be 10 of the 23s. And to get 12 of them, you simply add these together to get your answer. So we can do this over here, and that's how it's split up. It's saying basically take 2 of these and then take 10 of these and finally add them together. So 2 times 3, so 2 3s is a 6. So we write a 6 here. Plus, now what we're doing is we're taking 2 times 10 and we're going to take 2 of them. All right, so this is really 20 times 2, which gives us 40. So that's 4 times 10. In essence, you're saying 2 times 2 here, which gives you 4 tens. And then we write a 0 here. And the reason we write a 0 is because the next thing we're going to multiply by is this number, 1 times 10. And 1 times 10 times 3 is not going to give you any 1s because you have this times 10 here. You're in the tens column already. All right, so what you have are basically 10 3s. So you get 1 times 3, which is 3. So you have 3 tens. And then over here, what you have is 1 times 10 times 2 times 10. So it's really 10 times 20, but you can simply find this by taking 1 times 2 and then taking 10 times 10. So 10 squared. Right, this times this and that times that. And then when we add these together, of course, we get our answer, which is, and I'm going to go across this line, which I guess is okay. So 6 plus, and I add 4 tens and 3 tens, so I get 7 tens. And then plus 2 hundreds, so 2 times 10 squared.